Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. Got a special edition of Robert Sports Show here. Warrior Wrestling History and Best Matches. Warrior Wrestling is one of many, about 56 different independent wrestling companies that I've watched over the last few years. They've had 13 shows. Their 14th show is July 17th. It's coming Saturday in Chicago Heights, Illinois, which all their shows have been filmed there. They've had 119 matches in those 13 shows, 95 men, 19 women, and 5 intergender. Their very first show was May 11, 2018. Their second show was kind of a special date, which was September 2nd, 2018. Yep, it was in Chicago the day after All In. A lot of the talent from All In was actually on that second Warrior Wrestling show. Some of that talent that made the transition over to the second show that weekend, Dr. Britt Baker was there, Darby Allin, Jordan Grace, Brian Cage. So yeah, there was Jeff Cobb, several people that was an All In that was also part of Warrior Wrestling that show. Now, Warrior Wrestling has 3 championships. They have the Warrior Wrestling Championship, the World Championship, which Brian Cage was the first one to hold. He held it 531 days. Brian Pillman Jr. held it 224 days. And then the current champion is Impact Wrestling's own Trey Miguel, 284 days and counting. He does have a match, a title match on Saturday night. He does not actually have a title match this Saturday. The reason being because he's in Slammiversary for Impact Wrestling. They have a Warrior Wrestling Women's title, which Tessa Blanchard was the first champion. She held it 489 days. Kylie Ray is the current champion. She's held it 298 days, and she does defend it Saturday at the stadium show against Lady Frost. And then we have the Warrior Wrestling Lucha title, which was crowned the last show, which Aramis is current champion 34 days. He does defend that against Adaga at this Saturday show. Now, being an independent wrestling company, one thing that they have done is they've had other companies' titles defended on their shows. So that second show, the All In weekend, they had the NWA World title. Nick Aldis was there. They've had the Impact X Division title defended. The Impact Tag titles. The Progress Women's title has been defended 3 times. Zero Pro Wrestling Women's title. Freelance title. AAA Latin American title. Black Label Pro World title, which was actually Jordan Grace versus Tessa Blanchard. That was a really good match. Then they had the Warrior Wrestling Championship defended 11 times, the Women's title 5, and the Lucha title once. Now, as we look at those 119 matches, I got the 10 best women and 10 best men matches from those shows. So we're going to start with the women. Number 10 on the list comes from Warrior Wrestling 1, which was 11? Let me look at that real quick here. Yes. May 11, 2018. It was actually for the Zero Pro Wrestling Women's title. It was champion Tessa Blanchard versus Santana Garrett. Tessa Blanchard did retain the title in a 3-star match. Number 9 comes from Warrior Wrestling Stadium Series Show 1 from 2021, which was the first show of the year, June 5th. It was for the Warrior Wrestling Women's title. It was Kylie Ray defending the title versus Holiday. Kylie Ray did retain in a 3-star match. Number 8 comes from September 19, 2020. It was the Stadium Series Show 2. So what they've done is last year during the pandemic, they had 3 series of stadium shows. They were in a football stadium outside, so listening to the whole 9 yards. And then this year, they're on their second one of 3 that's happening this weekend. Then that match there from last year's, it was Kimberly versus Jordan Grace. Kimberly got the victory, and it was a 3-star match. Number 7 comes from Warrior Wrestling 8, which was February 15th, 2020. It was the Warrior Wrestling Women's title. Now, it was in a really cool match. It's called War of Attrition. What this War of Attrition match is, they've had 2 or 3 now in their history. They're an 8-person tag. So in this case, it was an 8-woman tag, 2 teams of 4. Tessa Blanchard, Tala Valkyrie, Madison Rayne, Britt Baker on one team, Big Swole, Kylie Ray, Ray Lynn, and Tasha Steelz on the other team. The winning team which was Tessa Blanchard, Tyler Valkyrie, Madison Rayne, and Britt Baker. Whoever got the pinfall victory picked somebody from her 4 team members to go against each other in a tag match. So Tyler Valkyrie actually got the pin. She picked Tessa Blanchard. So the second part of this was Tessa Blanchard versus Tyler Valkyrie. Or Tessa Blanchard and Tyler Valkyrie teaming up versus Madison Rayne and Britt Baker. Now, the winning team from that goes one-on-one in the main part of it, which was Tessa Blanchard and Tyler Valkyrie one-on-one. Tessa ended up retaining her title in this match. It's called War of Attrition. It's actually one of my favorite match gimmicks now. 3 1/4 star I gave that. Number 6 comes from Warrior Wrestling 3, which was January 5th, 2019. For the Progress Wrestling Women's title, it was champion Jordynne Grace versus Kylie Rae. Jordynne Grace got the pinfall and a retain, 3 1/4 star. Number 5 on the list comes from Warrior Wrestling 5. It was May 12th, 2019. It was for the Warrior Wrestling Women's title with special referee Molly Holly. It was Jordynne Grace versus Tessa Blanchard. Tessa Blanchard getting the victory. And this was, I believe, this was the first time. Let me double check this. Let's see here. Warrior Wrestling 5. I believe this was the inaugural title. Let's take a look and double check that. Yes, this was for the inaugural Warrior Wrestling Women's Championship. So it was vacant before that, and that's when Tessa Blanchard became the first Warrior Wrestling Women's Champion. Number 4 on the list comes from Warrior Wrestling 6, September 1, 2019. Again, all-out weekend. Progress Wrestling Women's title on line, champion Jordynne Grace versus Kylie Rae. Jordynne Grace getting the victory in a 3 1/4 star match. Yes, that was a rematch. Number 3 on the list comes from Warrior Wrestling 2, September 2nd, 2018. Black Label Pro World title. Yes, Black Label Pro World title. Champion Jordynne Grace versus Tessa Blanchard. Jordynne Grace got the victory by disqualification, retaining her title in a 3 1/2 star match. Number 2 comes from Warrior Wrestling 2, same show, September 2nd, 2018. This is a non-title match. It was a tag team match. Mia Yim and Santana Garrett versus Dr. Britt Baker and Chelsea Green. This was the all-in weekend. Mia Yim and Santana Garrett getting the victory over Britt Baker and Chelsea Green. I give it 3 1/2. This is before or when Dr. Britt Baker was really starting to expand her indie roots and being that DND started. Really got going. And then the best women's match at Warrior Wrestling was Warrior Wrestling 3, January 5th, 2019. It was a singles match. It was Tessa Blanchard versus the Doctor, Britt Baker, DMD. Tessa Blanchard getting the victory in a 3 1/2 star match. Now, as it comes for the men's, there was 95 men's matches. We got the best 10 here. Number 10 comes from Warrior Wrestling 4. We had a 6-man tag. We had SoCal Uncensored, which is Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky versus OVE before they broke up. Sami Callihan, Jake Crest, and Dave Crest. SoCal Uncensored did get the victory. That was a 3 3/4 star match. Number 9 on the list comes from Warrior Wrestling 3, which was January of 2019. For the World Wrestling Championship, it was Bandito versus champion Brian Cage. The Machine got the victory over Bandito in a 3 3/4 star match. Yeah, as we see, this was 2.5 years ago. Bandito was just a pup then, just a young guy. He's now PWG World Heavyweight Champion and Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion. Number 8 on the list comes from Warrior Wrestling Stadium Show 3 from September of 2020. Zachary Wentz versus Blake Christian. Hey, both of them guys are in NXT right now. Zachary Wentz got the victory there in a 3 3/4 star match. Number 7 comes from Warrior Wrestling 2. It was the Warrior Wrestling Championship on the line, men's championship on the line in a War of Attrition match. It was a team of Brian Cage, Ray Phoenix, Penta El Zero, Sammy Guevara versus Rey Mysterio, Austin Aries, Jeff Cobb, and Rich Swann. Same way, 2 teams of 4. The winning person who got the pin chooses somebody from their own team to be a tag team, which is Brian Cage and Rey Fenix versus Pentagon Jr. and Sammy Guevara. Brian Cage and Rey Fenix won that tag match, so they went 1-on-1, which Brian Cage ended up winning the title. This was for the initial championship title match for the men's championship. Brian Cage won it in a 4-star match. Number 6 comes from Warrior Wrestling 3, January of 2019. It was a men's tag match. It was Team White Wolf, which was A-Kid and Carlos Romo, versus the Lucha Brothers, Rey Fenix and Pentagon Jr. A-Kid is actually part of NXT UK now, while Carlos Romo is still in progress. This was a 4-star match, Lucha Brothers getting the victory. Number 4 in this match was a fatal 4-way for the Warrior Wrestling Championship. It was champion Brian Cage versus the Rascals, Trey Miguel, Zachary Wentz, Desmond Alexander. Brian Cage ended up getting the pinfall victory over the Rascals. It was a 4-way, but it was kind of 3-on-1. But 1-1. Brian Cage is the Machine in a 4-star match. Number 4 on the list from Warrior Wrestling 6. It was a singles match. It was Sabriano Jr. versus Templero. Sabriano Jr. got the victory there. A couple of AAA stars coming in. It was a 4-star match. Number 3 from Warrior Wrestling 9, which was September of 2020. We had August of 2020, excuse me. We had a 6-man tag. We had the Rascals, Dez, Trey, and Wentz versus Alex Zane, Benjamin Carter, Blake Christian. 4-star classic with the Rascals getting the victory. 5 of these 6 guys are currently signed in NXT. We got Wentz and Dez as MSK. Alex Zane is currently known as Ari Sterling. Benjamin Carter is known as Nathan Fraser in NXT UK. And Blake Christian is part of the NXT tournament, the upcoming tournament, as Trey Baxter. It's amazing how less than a year makes for these guys. That was a 4-star match. Number 2 on the list comes from Warrior Wrestling 7. It was another 6-man tag. It was the Rascals. But this time they went up against 2 New Japan stars and a former Impact X Division champion, the team of Rocky Romero, Amazing Red, and Will Ospreay. This was an amazing match. Will Ospreay's team and Amazing Red and Rocky Romero getting the victory, 4.5 star. And then the best match in the men's division of Warrior Wrestling comes from Warrior Wrestling Stadium Show 1 from 2021, June 5th. It was a War of Attrition match for the World Warrior Wrestling Lucha title. It was the team of Armis, Ares, Dragon Bane, Laredo Kid up against Black Taurus, Canis Lupus, Golden Dragon, and Gringo Loco. Armis and Ares were the tag team part of it, and they went against Dragon Bane and Laredo Kid, and Armis got the victory. I gave it 4 3/4. When it comes to the Lucha Libre matches, like AAA and CMLL and some of the Lucha stars that go into Ring of Honor in New Japan, when it comes to the high-flying kind of guys, sometimes I will kind of go maybe a star, a quarter of a star to a half star above what most people do, because that is the brand that I like. That is the style that I just like go all out for. But this was an amazing match. I love that Lucha style. So that is the 10 best men's matches, 10 best women's matches of Warrior Wrestling. Again, Warrior Wrestling, their 14th show will be this Saturday. You can find it on Fight TV. They actually have a pack where you can get all 3 shows, one from June, one from July, and one from August. Some of the names to look out for, I will do a preview of them, but some of the names that I'm really high on the indies, you can definitely check these guys out. Lee Moriarty, he actually is going to be doing some MLW stuff Major League Wrestling. I'm excited to see that. We have Jordan Oliver. He's another one of those kind of the next up. I've talked about Blake Christian and Alex Zane on here, and they became in NXT 205 Live. Kind of the next up is Wheeler Yuta. He's actually been on AEW a little bit. Lee Moriarty, he's actually doing some stuff with MLW coming up. Trey Lamar, he's been on AEW Dark Elevation. Jordan Oliver, he's kind of that next guy up, kind of like the Will Ospreay type. Richard Holiday, he's in MLW. He's freaking awesome. And one of the matches that I'm looking forward to, we have the American Wolf, Davey Richards, versus the Octopus, Jonathan Gresham. That match should be uber good. We have Brian Cage versus Ninja Mac. Yeah, I'm going to run down the full review of that, or preview of that, so definitely check that out. A lot going on this week. We have Slammiversary, and we have Money in the Bank. So definitely check out previews, best of here on Rubber Sports Show. Stay tuned to Rubber Sports Show for Impact Wrestling Slammiversary puzzle game. As always, thanks for watching Rubber Sports Show. Don't just have a great day. Have a spiffy day. Rubber Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports channel content.